This is Like Soot, written by Barrel Coops.
Dark like soot. Bridget's heart pounded like a war drum, each beat crashing through her chest, relentless and deafening. Panic gripped her lungs, stealing the air as she paced the cramped living room, arms rigid, hands trembling uncontrollably. The walls seemed to press in, thick with silence, as if the house itself were holding its breath. It had been 2 hours, 2 long, clawing hours since Franky disappeared. Her 5-year-old son, just gone. The clock ticked with mocking indifference. Every second was a slap, a cruel reminder of how helpless she was. She had called the police the moment she realised. Still, 35 eternal minutes had crawled by before they arrived at her flat on the estate. And now even they, trained, calm, methodical, seemed overwhelmed. The air inside reeked of fear and old damp of unanswered questions. Bridget's mind spiralled into worst-case horrors. Abduction. Injury. Worse. She gritted her teeth against the scream that wanted out. As a single mother juggling 4 kids, she had always prided herself on keeping them safe. But now? Now the others huddled in the corner, eyes wide, clinging to each other in silence. She forced a smile at them, the corners of her lips twitching, hollow with dread. The knock at the door barely registered over the chaos in her mind. 2 officers stepped in, sombre-faced, eyes scanning the flat with quiet urgency. They fired questions like gunshots. When did you last see him? What was he wearing? Does he wander off often? Bridget answered through a fog, her voice thin and cracking. She could already tell they didn't have a clue where to begin, and she'd already searched. Every walkway, every cracked pavement, every corner of the estate, calling Franky's name until her throat gave out. Neighbours offered mumbled sympathy and useless glances. No one had seen anything. No one ever did. Then the roar of a car engine tore through the dusk. Her brother Martin's old motor skidded to a halt outside, headlights blazing across the empty playground. She flung the door open before he could even knock, collapsing into his arms, sobbing, breathless, broken. "He's gone," she gasped. "Franky's gone." Together they swept through the estate with the police, shouting into alleys, combing behind bins, garages, hedgerows. Every rustle became a threat, every shadow a mocking reminder. But there was no sign, nothing but darkness swallowing the estate as the sun finally dipped out of sight. Streetlights flickered on, dim and sickly yellow, casting long, fractured shadows across the wet pavement. Bridget stood on her front step, arms wrapped around herself like armour. Cold crept in, so did despair. Then Sissy arrived, Bridget's neighbour's teenage daughter, breathless and pale. "What happened?" she asked, taking in the scene with wide eyes. She knew Franky well, babysat often. Her voice cut through the tension like a blade. "Have you checked all his hiding places? He's obsessed with hide and seek." Bridget blinked at her. "We've looked. We've searched everywhere. The house, the garden, the whole bloody estate." "Mind if I check too?" Sissy asked gently. "I know the places he likes. Maybe I'll see something different." Bridget hesitated, then nodded, her voice ragged. "Call his name if you find anything, please." Sissy didn't waste a second. She darted inside, adrenaline surging. The toy cupboard empty. She dropped to her knees and threw back the sofa cushions, the silence thick and accusing. Upstairs she flung open wardrobes, pulled up covers, checked behind doors, under beds. The bathroom was cold and echoing, no sign. Outside now. The garden was a mess of weeds, cracked paving and forgotten toys. Wind rustled the grass. The shed, off limits, was unlocked. Empty. She crouched, peered under the barbecue, the wheelbarrow. Nothing. Then it hit her. The coal bunker. She remembered the mess from last time. Franky had come out, black as soot, coughing, laughing, thinking it was the best game ever. It had taken hours to scrub him clean. But tonight, that filthy hiding spot could be salvation. She sprinted to the bin behind the shed. The lid was ajar, her heart leapt. "Franky," she whispered. She lifted the lid slowly, her flashlight shaking in her grip. Blackness. Then movement. A small shape. 2 eyes wide with terror blinked up at her. "Sissy?" Franky's voice barely rose above a whisper. Relief hit like a sledgehammer. "Oh my God, Franky!" She dropped the torch, reached in and lifted him out. He was shivering, his clothes damp, his skin streaked with soot. Bridget burst through the garden gate, saw her son and fell to her knees with a cry, half anguish, half prayer. She wrapped her arms around him so tightly it looked like she might never let go. The officers approached, Martin closed behind, but before anyone could speak, Franky's small voice slipped into the night air. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I was scared." Bridget pulled back slightly, brushing soot from his face. "Scared of what, sweetheart?" Franky's eyes flicked toward Martin. Him. Silence. Martin froze. "Me?" Franky nodded, shrinking back. "You're Bob." The name hit like ice water. "Bob," one officer echoed. "Who's Bob?" Sissy stiffened. "The horror movie. Chained." The one she'd watched one night while babysitting, thinking the kids were asleep. Bob, the taxi driver who locked people in a cellar. Sissy's stomach dropped. Oh God, Franky must have seen it. Bridget's face crumpled. "You thought Martin was going to take you away?" "He looks like him," Franky murmured. "Same face." I got scared. Martin let out a weak laugh, equal parts disbelief and heartbreak. "I'm not Bob, mate. I'm your uncle." But Franky didn't answer. He only clung to his mother, as if she were the only thing keeping the nightmare at bay. Eventually, the police left. The neighbours disappeared behind closed doors. Sissy ran a warm bath, hands still trembling, and as steam filled the bathroom, one truth lingered. The monsters children fear aren't always under the bed. Sometimes they wear familiar faces, stitched together by shadows, stitched by accident.
This was Like Soot, written by Barrel Coops. I hope you enjoyed my short story. Please hit the subscribe button so you don't miss the next one. I have written over 500 short stories over the years under many pen names. I will be updating these and recording them under the Barrel Coops name. I will be listing them on YouTube as fast as we can get them recorded. They will include historical drama, humor, adventure, romance, period drama, mystery, thriller, war stories, spy stories, revenge, horror, psychological horror, dystopian, disaster, children's stories, love stories, and more. Too many to name. Something for everyone. If you enjoyed this story, please give it a thumbs up. It helps others find my channel. Until next time, thank you for listening to the end.